When making a character, there's lots of things to consider. What do they look like? How are they going to act? Where did they come from? Are they cute or scary? And all of this isn't even considering the technical aspect. Our game is all about characters, and how different should be celebrated. Each character's story is a vital part of the broader picture, so it's important when making a character that they actually fit in this world. So I want to take you guys through the process that we have when making a character. So the first thing I do when I'm trying to come up with a character is think of the core item that this character will be made out of. Each character is usually made up of one core miscellaneous item. From there, we build around it and add in the robot elements. If you look at our main character Buddy, he's made from a small, rusty can. I've always loved the idea of technology and nature merging into one. So for today's example, I want to make a character based on a living rock. Sort of Golem-esque, but more robotic and way more cute. So to start, I begin with sketching it out. Now, I am not the best artist when it comes to 2D. I can get basic ideas out of my head and onto paper, but they kind of look a bit wonky. And that's exactly why Chris, our 2D artist, is on our team. So for example, a character based on a scarecrow. This was my really bad sketch. And from there, this was what Chris came up with. I really love when Chris steps in and fleshes out the idea that I had. Or better yet, when he comes to me with brand new ideas. It's a collaborative process that I really enjoy. But for today, let's just go with my sketch and bring it into a 3D model. All our characters look like they're made from random parts. So I try not to shy away from the first idea that comes to my head. Don't be afraid of what ends up on the page. You can really perfect everything later on. Just get that idea out and get the ball rolling. So as you can see, our guy is really cute. He's made out of a rock that is wrapped around in wires and has a few different robotic elements to it. He's got these big adorable eyes, and to make things easier, we've given him these rocky floating limbs that are very easy to animate. I think he's pretty cute, and you know, his design might change along the way, but for now, I think I'm ready to 3D model it. So I'm jumping into 3ds Max here, and this is where I have begun the 3D modeling process. This can usually take some time, so obviously this is sped up very fast. But 3D modeling is how I really got into game development, so I really love doing this. This is the part of the process where you can sort of play around with different things. Some things in 2D don't translate well to 3D, whether they're hard to make or they just don't look right. But that's completely okay. It's all about playing around with different shapes and ideas and seeing what really feels the best balanced. I think our 3D model is coming along very well. The next process is UV unwrapping. Now, I won't get too technical here, but basically, to texture a 3D model, you have to unwrap it and lay it flat. Think of it as unwrapping a chocolate from a wrapper. This can be quite a time-consuming process, and it's something that I won't really go over too much here. As frustrating and time-consuming as it can be, it's very vital for the next step. Now that our model is unwrapped, we can finally move on to the texturing phase. I love texturing and really bringing a completely empty looking character or model to life through different colors. So for our little guy, obviously something I want to get right is the rock look. We want to make sure that this looks like a really rough surface that has been through lots of wear and tear, but maybe has a little bit of greenery and moss attached to it too. Making metallic objects is really easy. The hard bit is actually making it a believable worn down object. So these subtle scratches, these small, almost invisible different layers really do add up to the bigger picture. You have to kind of look at this object and think of how it moves in this world and what parts of it are used more than others. In terms of colors, it's really just about playing with different things. I use complementary colors quite a bit. There's lots of tools out there that you can use that really help you nail down good color combos. The next step is to give him a skeleton. Rigging is a process that's used to give the character a skeleton, which lets you manipulate and animate your character. After we've rigged our character, they're now fully ready for animation. And this is a process that also takes quite a bit of time, but it might be some of the most rewarding because you actually get to bring your character to life with motion. In our game, we have a few sort of basic sets of animations that we absolutely need, and everything else is just bonus. So we need an idle animation. We need an idle animation when they're talking to you. We need a talking animation, and we usually give them a special animation that's specific to their character. So let's speed up this footage and get through those animations, and then we'll move on to the final part of making a character: implementation. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And this is much easier said than done. You know, I do it all the time. Working on games for many years has been a very interesting process. I found that game development is really unlike any other job. It requires so much from one single person to know, and especially if you're an indie developer, you will be focusing on all these different fields, whether it's marketing, 3D modeling, programming, music, sound design, but you'll also be a bug tester. You'll have to know your audience. You'll have to put all of this together in one form of media that works well and does well. For one person, for any person, that's really difficult. So you wear all these hats as a game developer, and it can be easy to compare your game and yourself as a developer to the other games that you see out there, especially other games by big studios. These games by big studios weren't made by one person. They were made by teams of hundreds. They were made with a budget that's much more than probably your average day job. We're talking millions of dollars. These teams come from years of industry experience, and they've been hired for having a history of working on games. For some of you, and I know a lot of you, this is your first time working on a game. So cut yourself some slack. Seriously. Once you've got your character model, you've got it textured, it's rigged and animated, now it's time to bring it into the game and give it a story. For our little guy here today, we don't have a place for him in the game yet. In terms of locations and where he actually is in this world, we're just gonna put him in our test area. There's a lot of technical setting up here that you have to do, especially with programming. But keeping it to the basics, this is where we implement dialogue, we plug in the animations, and set all of these elements up into a working character. Making a new character can take anywhere from a week to a month. It really depends on what kind of assets we need, what kind of animations they require. Obviously, today's footage has been sped up and heavily edited, but please do keep in mind that, you know, this stuff takes time, and that's completely fine. Characters can take a long time to develop, and there's so many different aspects, as you've seen today, that go into making even one character. It's usually a background process that happens along the development journey, but I don't think there's anything quite as special as walking up to your character in the game and talking to them. I'm really happy with how he's come out. I think he's absolutely adorable, and I can't wait to see him in game. Now, I want you guys to be involved with this too, so please let me know below. What do you think he should be named? If you like someone's name suggestion below, give it a thumbs up. Now, I don't know if this character will actually be a part of the game, but I think it would be kind of fun. As far as where this character will be in the game, when it's finished, you'll have to play it to find out. As I've always said from the start, the reason I got into game development is that it's a special way to translate what's in your head into something real. It's interactive, and it brings to life the idea that you had. It lets people walk into your mind, and to work on that collaboratively with other people and bring their worlds to life. That's such a special thing. As I said at the start of the video, the biggest part of our game is our characters. So I hope you've learned a thing or two about the process, and I hope it motivates you to bring the characters in your head to life. Thank you so much for watching. Our first devlog actually got a lot of attention and love, which I am so grateful for. I think it's really fantastic that both developers and people who have never seen anything about game development can watch these devlogs and find out a thing or two. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all these vlogs. And if you haven't already, play the demo of our game, Misc: A Tiny Tale, in the description below. Wishlisting the game will help us more than you could know. Until next time, bye.